time.
Thank you. Ms. Black, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to sit in on this committee, although I'm not a member of this subcommittee. However, I was a member of the subcommittee for the first 2 years that I was here. And this issue has become one that I have delved into pretty deeply. And I have also, as a result of that, spent time when I was back in my district going through the entire system, from my local office to the determination unit, to meeting with the ALJs, and also meeting with those who are on the Social Security Advisory Board. So this is an issue that I feel like I have really spent a lot of time in trying to understand, as Mr. Renacci has said, is how do we fix the problem? I thank you all for what you do. It's not an easy place to be, and having gone through the entire system, I know that the determinations are not easy to make. There are a lot of things that we can fix, however, and I want to go to one of those. Mr. Carroll, Mr. O'Carroll, more than half of the defendants in the New York case faked mental disabilities. Is that correct?
Yes, Ms. Black, that is correct.
Okay, and then following up on that, I'm also looking back at the defendants in the Puerto Rico case. Also faked mental disabilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that mental disabilities are easier to fake than other conditions?
Yes. And the reason for it is that it's so subjective, as you well know from being in the medical community. There aren't the x-rays that will determine it. There aren't CAT scans that do it. There's no test. So pretty much you're relying on the veracity of the patient, and then you're relying on the veracity of the doctor. And that's where our problem in Puerto Rico and New York was, is that there was collusion.
Okay, and so let's go just another step further, because we have discussed this in hearings previously, that the criteria for awarding these benefits or medical disabilities or mental illnesses has not been updated. The last update was 1985. So if we talk about how do we fix the problem so that we have better tools, not necessarily more money, but just better tools, Ms. Colvin, can you help me with why we haven't updated this? Is there a plan to update it? Are we working on that? Because this is 30 years now since it's been updated.
That's an excellent question. Yes, we are. We're working with the Institute of Medicine, and they're reviewing more objective instruments that might be out there.
When do you expect something from this? Again, 30 years worth. I think I'd like to have some kind of idea about what the plan is. Give us the timeline of when you expect that there is going to be an actual update of looking at mental illnesses.
We have just given a task order to the Institute of Medicine, so I don't have a date of when we'll get their report. I'd be very happy once I talk to staff to see what the timeline is there. But we also have been updating our medical listings. As you know, many of them had not been updated for many years.
You mean the grid? Are you talking about the grid?
No, the listings, the medical listings that we use.
Okay.
And in fact, I think right now we've updated 10 of 15. The others are in the process of being updated. Our goal is to have all of them updated and then have them reviewed every 3 years.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm going to reclaim my time because I don't have very much time and I want to get to a couple of other things. But this updating is something that I've seen continuously throughout all of the departments that I've walked through. We've not updated this, and we can't wait for the medical community to say, oh, we got to do another 5 years of research. I want to hear a plan of getting this done and getting it through. Grids are another thing, and looking and updating what currently jobs are available. We haven't updated that in years, so my own disability determination unit tells me that their hands are tied because there's not even computer skills that are out there now to say that you can be retooled to work with a computer skill. If your knees are gone or something where you have to have a job where you're sitting, that's not even been done. And it's been suggested for over 15 years now, so that one needs to happen as well. So when we talk about what can we do to fix the problem, there are tools out there that would help you to be able to do a better job so that perhaps people wouldn't get on disability that don't need to be on disability. And that's what I want to hear back from you all is when that is going to happen. Now I want to go to Mr. O'Carroll again about using the Internet. So Mr. O'Carroll, your agents were able to determine many of the defendants were working. And how were you able to do that? Did you use any of these more up-to-date kinds of tools that you could possibly use?
Yes, we've been using social media. In fact, that was some of the video that we showed at the beginning on it. Normally what we do with our CDI units is as soon as we get an allegation that somebody is riding a motorcycle or doing something that's outside of the normal way they portrayed their disability, first thing we do is we start taking a look at probably public service type, not public information, taking a look at licenses, see that type of information on it. Next step that we go to is we go to social media. And oftentimes these people that are claiming that they can't go out in public, that they're afraid of crowds and things like that, will show on their social media that they're, leading, tours through rock concerts and things like that.
Certainly.
So we use that, and we think it's a very good lead, and it's something that should be considered when people make an application.
So if I could just complete this, Mr. Chairman, I know my time has run out, but going back to the decision makers, I understand the decision makers are prohibited from using these kinds of resources. Is that correct, Ms. Colvin? And is there a reason for that?
Well, there are a number of reasons for it. We believe that using those media, one, it opens up to having PII data exposed. We also believe that it's an appropriate thing for the investigators to use, not for the adjudicators to use.
I'm going to suggest it's another tool. When we say, how can we fix this problem to give those who are the decision makers as much information as they possibly can, why not use things that are right at their fingertips to be sure that they're getting all of the information, as well-rounded a picture as they can? And I will tell you that the Disability Determination Unit told me they would like to have the ability to be able to use things there at the fingertips, but they're prohibited from doing so. I think this is something we should look into as a subcommittee in giving them the opportunity and maybe the ability to be able to use those. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to sit on this committee. I yield back.